Welcome to the Doormat Podcast, everyone.
Hello.
I think we just want to start by explaining what this is.
Yes, we finally got off the ground. This was like a kind of an idea for a while, and we're here and we're doing it.
Yes. So I know a lot of people are starting. I feel like we're definitely going to get comments like those two girls from high school that started podcasts.
Yeah, like you give a mic to anybody nowadays.
But
no, it's fair. I feel like we don't have the authority to be talking into a microphone, but who does really? I mean, honestly, I don't know.
That's true. I think the purpose is this was for us.
Yeah.
So if people don't like it, that's totally fine. But we were kind of thinking like, what is something, a fun creative project that we could do that we could have for memories, and like even if we want to show our kids one day like this is what we were like in our 20s, like it was like if no one watches it, it will be fun for us just to have and to be able to hash out.
Like context to us specifically is like we've been best friends since 3rd grade, and we used to always make these like home videos, and we look back at them and like we're like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing, but it's also like such gems. Like I'm so glad that we did that because we have like cemented moments in like our childhood together. So I think this is just another one of those. We're gonna look back at this at 40 and be like, wow.
Well, also the other thing is that we've been best friends since 3rd grade, but we have been apart for a lot of those years. So like we went to the same school and stuff for most of that, but we were always in separate classes, separate schedules. We'll find out we're very different people, like different interests, different hobbies and stuff. But and then even after we graduated, we were not in the same city for like years. Like until now, we've been out of high school for 6 years.
So this is kind of like also fun because we've been apart for so long because of college and whatever.
We were still friends.
I mean,
but just didn't see each other.
But we just like haven't been like present in each other's lives for like that amount of time. So I feel like it's almost like a reunion in a way. Like we have so much. I mean, we've already covered a lot. We talk a lot, but in a way, like this is really fun because it does feel like we're back, like
getting the band back together.
In a way.
And it's also just like we're in very similar stages of life. We are both, should we say our ages? We both
24.
We recently turned 24. Recent college grads. Don't do the math too hard on that. College grads entering like the world, the workforce, just trying to figure out. I feel like early mid-20s is just a very like the range is all over the place. Everyone knows you could be like
married with kids.
You could be just starting like you have
us.
no idea what's going on in your life. So part of it is just like a weekly conversation for us to just figure out what's going on in our lives, and hopefully we can console each other and help each other grow and just have a good time, and also push ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit.
That is another thing we wanted to touch on.
Being on the internet in general is a big everyone, if anyone knows me or has followed any of my social media accounts, they are extremely dormant and like they're like just so zero posts. So just stay that way. It's mostly for me to just keep up with who's had a baby and that we went to high school with, or to like network or whatever. But it's like this would be a fun thing to do, and I think we also just want to push each other to try new things. With this.
For sure. I think this is just an excuse, kind of like if no one listens to it, which we're not really expecting. Our parents probably will, but I think it's more so just another way to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and do something that's like interesting and fun,
hold each other accountable.
And this gives us an excuse, like we were talking about. We want to do more just outrageous things, not outrageous, but just like try more things for the name of the podcast, and it's more so just to put ourselves out there.
The list is extensive too. Of like things to do.
Really all over the
things
place.
That we maybe should not be doing. Like I don't even know, should we tease things that like we plan to do and document, or
can I tease the one you're gonna do?
Maybe
because I want to put it out in the universe.
Sure.
She's going to do
maybe
a stand-up comedy routine.
I didn't say a full routine.
Okay, but you are really good at comedy.
That's gonna put so much pressure on this. I am not.
Like, no one can go up. If anyone could go up there and nail it, it would be you. But I wouldn't expect you to be able to like nail the first time getting up on stage.
People are gonna think I have a very different personality, because my personality is not like super.
No, but you can turn it like that's one thing you can turn it on.
I public speaking can perform, but I'm not like
no, you're not like a all the time internet personality, but when you turn it on, you're like very
I'm
hilarious.
Not incredibly social either, so I think that's like what's gonna throw people off is when you're like, she's gonna go do a stand-up routine. It's like I have a very like niche thing, but there'll be things from like we'll try maybe like a dance class, which I think that one you're maybe less excited about.
No.
So
yeah, no, I'll be very bad at that.
Just things that are like there's no stake in it, so like might as well try things in your 20s.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be, and some might be more simple, like Jenna will teach me how to put protein in my diet or show me how to exercise properly, just different things. And then we'll also just talk about embarrassing memories that we finally are comfortable enough. We
have a lot of childhood stories,
or just tell you about life, like in the workforce and sports and different things that we have just kind of done and been there for. We haven't done a lot of things. We've done a lot of things together, but like we've also done a lot of things apart, and then we just tell each other. Yeah. So it is just like another.
I think there is like we used to do so much together, like growing up, and then there's this gap in the timeline. So now it's like we get to kind of like start up again, which will be interesting because we used to get ourselves in not in like trouble, but we just always find ourselves in like the most absurd scenarios.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, here comes trouble. It's like, oh, they're in like distress. That's usually how it goes. It's not like, oh, the kids are wild, you get life of the party. It's like, oh, they're going through crisis currently. They need to support each other. So
I can agree with that.
So if you're anywhere like that, this might be a fun podcast for you. For sure. If you're navigating life at any stage, you feel sorts of anxiety, lost, a safe space to explore yourself, talk about things that have gone on, judgment-free zone.
For sure.
I think definitely. And that kind of brings us also to like people pleasers.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should probably touch on why we named it what we did.
Yes.
And the name of our podcast is Doormats, and we can both relate. We've both been called multiple times in our lives doormats, and I think our goal with this is kind of just like reclaim the name. We've both talked about how there are flaws, I feel like, in extensive people pleasing, but there are some things about being a people pleaser that I'm not ashamed of.
Yeah, I think it gets a bit of a bad rep where, or maybe just in our personal experience, that's why we're reclaiming it, is that we've been known to be people pleasers or like called doormats in kind of a negative way, and it puts a lot of faults on the quote unquote doormat, which kind of sucks because like we were saying, a lot of time people who fall in that category have really big hearts, good intentions. So not necessarily like we're striving to be doormats. It's like there should be no shame over it, and that doesn't mean that you don't have good things to offer.
Yeah, I think it's also I guess I can't speak for you, but for me sometimes it's like people shame doormats, and I'm kind of okay, like to a certain extent. There are things that I'm trying to work on, like with people pleasing behavior, but to a certain extent, like I'm okay with being a doormat. Like that's just kind of, I know that's probably controversial, but that's just kind of my personality. Like I've come to terms with that. Like I'm never gonna be that person that's like confronting everyone or like really outspoken. Like that's just not me. And I think the more I've come to terms with that, the more I've come to terms with like being more confident in myself. And so I think that's like kind of what I mean when I say like rebranding. It's like, if you are a chronic people pleaser, like obviously if it's really negatively affecting your life, like it's okay to want to change, but and also if you're like okay with some of that, then that's okay too. Like
you can define doormat for
yourself. There's a spectrum. We'll get into that.
May I just say, I was like looking up in preparation for this, I was like looking up quotes about doormats and stuff, and it was like, if you let others label you a doormat, they will rub their feet on you or something like that. I was like, damn, like that is aggressive. I was like, that preaching to the choir.
Amen. I'm a self-proclaimed doormat.
But I was like, may I also just say doormats welcome you to the home.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things about a doormat.
The first thing you see, they prep you for the home. They welcome you inside.
They have nice little sayings on them.
They're so cute too. They're a little rough on the edges. That a little worn down, but there's some good things doormats can offer. So not that the whole podcast is going to be us just being like, man, I let 4 people cut me at McDonald's again yesterday, but just like in general, like that's kind of why we started it, because we feel like in this phase of life, we feel a lot like that. But it really is just like about our phase of life, what we're going through, things we want to try, discussions, like we'll talk about whatever's interesting to us, whatever we want to think about. That's kind of what you can expect from this podcast, is a wide range. It's very casual, roundtable discussion between two people that know each other very well, but are also very different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there'll be a lot of funny stories and entertaining things like that. And then, we'll be doing more things currently that we'll talk about. Like, and hopefully we'll inspire, like, you if you are like navigating your life in your 20s or just like kind of in an in-between stage in life. Maybe it'll inspire you to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Well, anyway, should we get into some topics? Yeah, just start going for it. We thought first episode, there's a lot of intro and stuff. Stick with us because there's more coming. But we thought, since it's doormats and a lot of this will just be sharing stories and stuff, we thought we would do a little, I don't know, exercise. Kind of feels like something. So basically, we're going to share doormat stories or things that we do that we think would be labeled as like doormat-ish, and then we will both rank where we think that falls on a scale of 1 to doormat. So 1 to 10,
and you can play at home.
You can play at home too, and you can tell us in the comments if you think we're really off.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be off.
And just know that this is coming. Rankings are coming from 2 self-proclaimed doormats.
So it's gonna be not probably the popular opinion,
and we won't share. And honestly, the sad thing is that we actually had a lot of stories, but we're like, some of these I feel like we can't share because it will come back to get us.
Yeah, no. When you're listening to these, realize these are the stories we are willing to share. There are worse ones.
Yeah,
way worse.
That are currently.
I kept them pretty lighthearted.
Yeah, mine are lighthearted. So, they're not too bad. But
mine kind of have a range, but
there's a range to
okay.
Too, but we'll
do you want to start? Should we start with our like mildest one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mild and work our way up. Yeah. Okay. If you're watching, you can see that we have scoreboards.
Okay. Why don't you go first?
You want me to tell one first?
Yeah, tell yours first.
All right. Let's start really mild.
Okay.
Some of these will be stories, and some of these will just be things about me.
Okay.
Okay. So there are 5 kids in my family.
Yes.
I am number 4 out of 5. Okay. I have a sister so there's 1 boy and then 4 girls, and then I have a sister who's 4 years younger than me. So when you're like going on family trips, the youngest always has to sit in the middle because they're the smallest, so they take up the least amount of space. So that was me for like a long time, and then we had my little sister, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be cool, I get to move out of there. But obviously car seat, she needs to have the bigger seats, and I stayed there all the way up until I graduated high school, and we would go on family trips. I would have to sit in the middle of the thing, and I was always just like, that's fine.
And you were never just like, hey, get in the middle.
It is notorious in my family that like, you think that everyone beats up on the youngest. It is me. Yeah, I sell my oat. Hey, and that's I don't want to give away anyone's, information. But my younger sister would just like hit me. Even now, like I'll go over there, she'll just be beating me up, and everyone just piles it on me. Like if they're gonna play a prank or do something, it's to me, and I'm like, I'm not even on the lowest in the totem pole. How does this happen?
That's funny.
So let's see where we
rank that
one.
I'm gonna rank this on compared to other stories you have told me in your life.
Okay.
So that's what I'm basing it on.
Okay, I have my ranking.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay. I gave it a 2.
I was gonna say 2, but then I gave it a 1. To me, this is just courteous. It doesn't really like bother me that much.
No, you can acknowledge that that's like crazy in a way that there are norms for the rankings of siblings.
Yeah, but I guess I just know my place. That's part of it.
But I think you like, it's like the chicken or the egg. Like I feel like you've accepted your place before it was like you never even fought it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I just was like, we were getting in and that was my spot. So, and even now as an adult, if like it's rare, but like if we're ever packing in a car, I'm always like, oh, I'll take that one.
Just take the middle.
I'll take the middle.
Okay. Mine.
Not too bad.
No, that was not too bad. Out of all the stories I know of your people pleasing, that was not bad. This one I've told you before, but I'll just see where you rank it. So I think we can all agree tipping culture has gotten a little out of hand lately.
Oh, I should have wrote one.
Yeah. And so I worked at a coffee shop. I worked at a barbecue restaurant. I was a cashier. So like, and when I worked there, I made my wage from tips. Like I was paid like $2.25 an hour.
That's
and
nuts.
It was made up in tips. So I tip. I always tip. And I usually do like 20% if it's like just regular stuff. Like, even if it's bad service, I will still.
That's something that I agree on. Like, sometimes you'll be like, damn, like, bad. Like, I'm not giving them any tip. I was like, no tip. I was like, what if it, because you just never know what if it was busy and they couldn't get to you until a long time.
Do I agree that, like, businesses shouldn't be paying their employees on tips? Like, no, I don't agree. I think businesses should be paying their employees like a wage, and then the tip should be on top. Extra, but the reality is that's just not the case, and I don't think it's like the waitresses that should and waiters like that should suffer. You know, so that's my opinion on it. But as of lately, like, I would say even like few months ago, or like, I don't know, like a year ago, I wouldn't even think twice. I would just like, you know, if the iPad turns to me, I tip.
I can't.
But now the iPad's turning to me in the most like absurd ways, like in ways where I'm not even feeling like I'm getting a service, and it's like, okay, I'm not trying to be a Karen, but like, what did you serve me?
Ooh, doormat's turning over.
I would never. I still just it's just automatic. So it's my natural tendency is to just tip. And so me and my friends were getting my other friend a gift card to a coffee shop, and we were each like purchasing one for her. So it came to my turn, and I go up, don't even order a coffee, I'm just buying the gift card, and she turns the first of all, like, why even turn the iPad around? I'm just buying a gift card. She just set me up for that. So she turns it around, and I hesitated for a second because it registered to me, wait, I didn't even buy a coffee. But I put 20%.
20%
card on a gift card.
20%. How much was the gift card?
It was probably like $30.
Oh my gosh, 20% of $30. I mean, that's like a few bucks you threw out there. That's like,
but just like, I guess it still goes to like the baristas and stuff. So I'm not like that mad about it. But still, I was just like,
I think they just did you dirty on that one.
Yeah, I feel like she set me up.
I think it flusters you.
She set me up.
Okay, I have my ranking.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's kind of high.
I said 4 because that's outrageous. A gift card.
I know.
Maybe
I'm just trying to make myself feel better. I put 2.5.
I don't think it's your fault because I think I would have got flustered and done the same thing. But I am saying like that is crazy that it happened. But I'm the same way. Like every time I go to like if I get a drink or something, I feel the other thing is too is I feel guilty when because there's Big B. I don't even know if that's like everywhere Midwest for sure Michigan thing. It's like a Starbucks whatever, but just more Michigan. And they always are like, do you want a tip? They don't hand you the iPad though. You have to say out loud how much you want to tip.
Oh, that's my.
So then they go, would you like to tip? And I was like, oh, sure, you can put a tip on there. And then they go, how much? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I'm like, I feel like $1 sounds rude. So I go, oh, you can have $2. And I'll do that no matter what I buy. So if I buy a $4 drink, I'll tip $2. And so that's why
I also don't buy coffee as much anymore. Yeah, because with tip, it's like so expensive.
That's the thing. I'm like, and people are like, I can't afford that. I was like, I just like I budget that. Do it at this point. I'm like, I can't deal with it. So I'll give that a 4 in my books.
I guess that's fair. I feel like that was a little high, to be honest, but
I just think because it's so crazy.
Yeah, I guess I literally just gave away money.
Your behavior, I would say, was a 3. Okay. Because I think you should click no, but I would have done the same thing. So I'll leave it like that.
Okay, your turn.
All right, here's the next one. I guess I'll do. Okay, this one's from middle school. We kind of touched on this beforehand, but I don't even know what I would have done in this situation. What are you supposed to do? But I was in middle school and we had this sub that would sub for us regularly. And honestly, this woman got in fights with a lot of kids. So don't ask me how she kept coming back. I could have. You know what? We'll text. We'll believe this. We'll text later and be like, "Can we share your full out brawl?" Wait, with.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's more work for me. But she got in fights with multitudes. So she wasn't great anyway, but she was whatever. And she was subbing for us for like English, and you were in this class. And she was just finished her coffee, and I guess she wanted a piece of gum. And I think some kids wanted a piece too, you know how kids are or whatever. And she was like, okay, guys, okay. So she called the whole class. She was like, all right, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I have a full pack of gum, and I'm going to share it with all of you guys. But I'm going to pass one piece out, and whenever I run out. So that's that. Like, I don't want to hear any complaining stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's great. So then me, you, and another friend were sitting in the back of the room, and she goes around the whole class. We were the last ones. And then she comes by, and there was a couple pieces left. And so she grabs one in each hand, and she just goes like, ah, And then she like hands it to us. There you go, girls. And she hands it to you and the other friend. And I was on the end. She nodded to me. Then she just walked away. And I was just like, oh, like I just did. How do you react to that? Because the thing is, it threw me off because her cadence was like, she went, like perfect.
There's
like,
no one else.
And I literally like, I've never felt more invisible in my entire life. I was like, I felt like I blended into the wall.
I really want to.
Oh my god!
Can I tell? This just reminded me of the story. But
which one? Which one?
Of our principal not knowing.
Oh, not knowing my name. Another one.
I feel like that was. Can you tell that one?
Okay, yeah, separate. We'll get back to that one.
Okay.
So then a different time, I had gone to this school for 8 years. I think we were in 8th grade. It's a K through 12 school that we went to. So it's small.
And it's small. It's very small.
Very small. Like we were the biggest class with 52 people in our whole class.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do a bake sale together, but we needed to get approval from this principal, which is a whole nother story. And mind you, I had gone there for 8 years. All my older siblings went there and graduated. So that's 3 older siblings. My mom was a teacher at the school.
Make that very clear. Our Spanish teacher.
For years. And we went into that meeting and Mrs. Sorry.
We're going to get sued.
Mrs. Principal goes, oh, Jenna, how nice to see you. Wait, I was on student council too. That's
you
crazy.
Were involved.
I was involved in a lot of things at that school. I'm looking right at my camera because I need you guys to
hold them accountable.
I was on multiple teams for that school and in front of things. And so she goes, oh, Jenna, how good to see you. And she gives you a hug, right?
Yeah.
And then she turns to me and goes, oh, and who's your friend? And I was like,
bro, even I was like, you have got to be joking.
I was like so shook because I was involved in so much, and I was like, oh, like Amelia, whatever, and I wanted to be like my mom.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but that one I'm gonna rate so high because
I'm glad you remembered that.
I can't believe you weren't like, my mom works here.
I didn't say anything. I was just like, I introduced myself as if I was meeting someone new. I was like, I was like, oh, I think she did shake my hand. I think she was like, oh, hi.
That's
and I was
insane.
Just like so shook by that, and I just think that is like. So
I think we just need to emphasize the absurd part about that story. It's not like we went to a private Christian.
You had to know everyone's
school,
names. Everyone knew everyone's business.
You knew every single person. I could name probably every single person at that school. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't know everyone personally.
Every
but
grade, I could tell you who left or came probably.
You know everyone,
and my mother was an employee.
To not know who you are. She was a purpose. Like honestly,
that's a purpose. That was a low blow. And the thing is, I let it slide too. Now I would be
crazy behavior.
They still send me like stuff in the mail, like to donate, whatever, and they spell my name wrong. And mind you, I ended up working for them after I graduated high school.
They spelled your name wrong.
Yeah, they spelled my name wrong. It's not that crazy, but I was just
that's just disrespectful.
I'm gonna call that a hate crime. For being honest. So let's rank both of those stories, the gum story, and I will say Jenna gave me half of hers, so it's fine, but I think you just felt so bad.
I did feel bad.
Yeah, so you can rank them both. I will rank them both as well. I'm gonna say the first one and then the second one I'll put. I'm glad you brought that one up. Kind of, if anyone's wondering why I'm on this podcast.
Actually, no, I'm gonna rank that.
All right.
Okay.
I can see yours, but now I think we're kind of similar. 1, 2, 3.
I put 3 for the first one.
What would I have done? You know, like what else would I have done? Fight her?
I know you in high school I know you wouldn't have said anything, but now
I was in middle school for that one.
Okay, sorry, we're 8th grade, but now you don't think like if she like we went back to the school or something like for your mom and she was like, "Who are you?" You wouldn't say anything.
The principal one.
Yeah, I
would have definitely said, "Oh, I'm daughter." I would have not said it directly. Been like, "What the like?" I would have just been like. Oh, dang it, I said my mom's name. I'll be like, oh, I'm Spanish teacher's daughter. I also coach for your thing. Yeah. I'm also involved in student council.
So you would have been like, these are all the reasons you should know my name.
would have brought it up in a kind way, like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's so nice to meet you. Yeah, we've actually met multiple times before. Like, I would have just said it in a really, that would have been maybe
at least you said, if you would be willing to say something. I would have confronted
it, but not in an aggressive way.
That's fair.
For the gum thing, I probably would have just made a joke, like, what am I, and then just awkwardly walked away.
Okay, that's fair. At least we can acknowledge we've come some distance with our behaviors.
Okay, next story.
This one isn't like. It's not like I was like upset after this. It just goes to show, I just won't say no to things.
Yeah.
My brother not recently, but he got married. But when he was brainstorming like ideas to propose to his
I remember this
wife, my brothers have no concept of like the time it takes to execute a creative project, and they always come to me because I'm the creative one of my family, and so that's just, I'm the default person.
Same.
Which is fine. I like doing creative. I like being crafty. I like coming up with ideas, and I like executing it. No problem there. The problem is this man came to me two nights before he wants to propose on Christmas Eve.
I was gonna say these are on the holidays.
2 nights before Christmas Eve, he comes to me with this idea. And his idea is to make little ornaments and put like memories from their like relationship, and then it leads to like an ornament with like a ring in it. Very cute. Honestly, I applaud him for the idea. Very good idea. What he thought it would take to do
execute,
he thought all we were gonna do is order some ornaments, like clear ornaments, and then he had, this is not even joking, what he came to me with was a ticket stub from a movie and a menu he still hadn't gotten yet. He's like, I'm gonna go to this restaurant and get, because it's like a paper menu. He's like, and that's the other one I like.
All he had?
That's all he brought me. So I'm like, okay, like let's work with this. But then in my head, I'm like, if you just stick a ticket stub in the ornament, I feel like we can do better. I feel like we can do better than that. So my idea was like, Hobby Lobby has everything. So I was like, why don't we go? They have like charm, like there's things you can like decorate the ornaments with, like
symbolize
put the inside
things,
and then of course I'm just extra, like once I like start with an idea, I just like, once I have the vision, I just like, I know it can be so good. So I tell him like, okay, let's go to Hobby Lobby, let's like, and I made him like list out like important moments from their like relationship, and we like wrote them all down, and then we got the stuff for it. So like one of them was like like a movie theater, we got like a little toy car, we got like a little like literally like I orchestrated scenes from their relationship in these ornaments. He helps me. He starts to help me with one, and then he goes, I have to be home, and I go, what do you mean? We're downstairs, I have my hot glue gun, we have the supplies everywhere, we get one done, and there's 12, there's supposed to be 12 of them. And he goes, I gotta go. And I go, what do you mean you gotta go? And he's like, I gotta get stuff around for Christmas. I go, sir, what do you mean?
There ain't gonna be no Christmas if she says no. We don't have this time.
And so he's like, I'm so sorry, I'll be over tomorrow. I'm like, this is not gonna get done in one night. So I'm downstairs sweating, have the hot glue gun in my hand. I get done like 6 of them that night, and then at that point I'm just like, okay, I gotta grind these out. I literally constructed, I wish I had them, I think they still have them in a box, but like I wish I had them to show, because I did, not to hype myself up, but I did a good job on like, I put the last one I made, I had like a little Polly Pocket from my like childhood, a man and a girl, like a man and a woman, whatever, and I put him on a knee, his knee bent, and then I had a little tiny fake ring, and he's holding it, and that was like the last one memory, and then when she like sees that one, he gets on one knee. And that was sweet. Like so it like he had it where he like put them around the tree, and then that was the last one she saw. This man helped, I made him do one. It took him what I like finished like 3 in the time it took him to finish one, and he's like, oh man, this is so hard, and I'm like, this is hard. This is hard. But it's not like I was like really that salty about that, because like obviously I love my and I love my sister-in-law and my brother, but I did like drop everything 2 days before Christmas and grind out 12 custom made like ornaments.
Half-assed it a little, but you went full on, which I love.
I could have charged him too. I did that for free. True.
All right, maybe that's gonna affect a little bit of it, but honestly, I think that's very sweet. I think this is just saying a lot more about your brother in this last minute. Did she ever find out that obviously you made it all? I feel like.
Oh yeah, she knew.
Yeah. All right, ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that one is like obviously like so much work went into it.
Yeah.
Turned out really sweet. I think it's hard though with family. It's like we all.
I think it would be like way more of a doormat story if it was someone that I like didn't care or like didn't know, or like didn't reciprocate, because he does a lot for me in other ways. So
if it was like an ex,
yeah, or something
that
crazy,
would be like crazy. But I don't know. I think that's sweet, and you did a good job, man. She said yes. So
yeah,
it all worked out. All right, let's see my next one. All right. Okay, so this one is a bit of a bullying story.
Okay.
So I used to play volleyball in high school. I was very into it. It's funny, I always say to my sister, we're always like, it's funny how when you're in that moment, sports feel so intense. We were class D, no one was going to college. Parents and coaches would get so into it, and like I would just like put my whole self-worth into that.
You were really good.
So I was okay. I could play at least, like, you know, but again, it's class D. We know what we're doing, you know. It's like our team was like decent, especially for being so small, but I really wanted to work really hard because I wanted to be bumped up to varsity when I was younger. And there was already kind of like an established team, but there was like rumblings that like me and another classmate were going to get moved up, which was really fun and exciting. And they had all of this like year-round extra training you could do.
Okay.
So I would show up to all of them, like all the conditionings, all the scrimmages, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a girl in the grade above me who, you know who it is.
Okay. I have
yeah,
an idea.
You know who
I have an idea.
And she, we played the same position. And you can only have one when you're doing that stuff. And it kind of looked like maybe I was going to kind of steal her spot, which like I didn't know. I just wanted to play. Like I didn't care where they threw me. I just really wanted to play.
Yeah.
So I was just working my butt off, and it just happened like that's where I played and stuff. So we would always do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we ended up on the same team. And so then we started like having to do team bonding. And so over the summer we would do like conditioning, and we went up to like some lake, and we were going to like play a volleyball game, and then we were going to like ride sand dunes and all this stuff. So we were supposed to like have fun together and spend the night. And we were all going to like wear matching braids. That was going to be like how we like and like had fun together, whatever. So it was me and another girl. Mind you, I did have the braid. So I was like, but we're trying to get through everyone's hair.
Yeah.
And so then it's me and the girl who are braiding. Our hair gets done last because like no one can braid our hair. And so she did mine kind of fast. And I guess there was like a little bit was like sticking out. And I was like, oh, like that's like I didn't even notice it. But then we were on this like dune ride, and the girl that didn't like me was sitting behind me, and she was like, oh, Amelia, you have like a little like piece of hair that like didn't get in the braid or whatever. And I was like, it's fine. And then she goes, can I just like pull it out? Can I just like pull it? Do you care? And I was just like, no, I don't care, because I was trying to be your friend. And then she pulls, and my whole head flies back, and it kind of hurt, but it took me by surprise. And I was just like, I don't know. And then you can kind of just hear like from other girls were kind of like gasping. And then my friend was like, oh my gosh, like that was like, I can't believe you let her do that. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, she took out a chunk of your hair. I was like, what? And I was like, I thought she said it was like a strand or two. She's like, no. And she showed me like, I don't even know how I can like describe it. She like maybe that much, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're just pulling that much hair,
like she
pulled it out of my head. Because I had out of my head.
Like she had clumps of her.
Like she had hair. My hair in her hand because I was wearing. I thought you meant
just like she pulled it out of the braid.
No, she pulled it out of my head.
Out of your head
to make the braid clean.
Amelia.
And I just was like, oh, I was just like,
no, I mean, I say I would, but like, I would throw her hands.
Well, this girl was just, I was so shy, and again, it's like older girls, so I was like so scared, and I was like, go for it, like, oh, that's fine and stuff, and it was just like, oh my, and that's the thing, she just like, she was kind of evil, like she kind of was just like that. It was not an isolated event too, like we would like, if we were playing on a scrimmage, and I was in her spot, but we were next to each other. There's very like in volleyball, you have a zone that you cover and stuff. If it would come to mine, I remember she would run into mine and push me out of the way so much that the coach had to be like, "What the heck?" Like it was so obvious that she would just like.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
And I never like was anything but nice to her. She would just so me, but I was just remember being like, "Oh, you're like this. Go for it." And
you probably were like, "Thanks."
Yeah, I was like, it's so even. Why is there such a breeze back there? That's crazy. It's windy out here. So that
okay, I'm
ready. 1, 2, 3.
I put 6.
I put 5. I was gonna do 6, but I'm like,
I want to rank it higher, but I know we have worse. But that's pretty bad.
It's pretty.
You better take chunk out of your head.
Pretty bad. I would say I was treated pretty bad. I don't think that was.
I feel like you could have been like, "Yo, what?"
But again, doesn't it just suck that the blame falls on the door?
Yeah,
it's like I wasn't doing anything.
Maybe it's on her for not like.
Now I think I would just be like, hair. "Whoa, dog! Can I see how much you took there? Because it felt like a lot." Again,
even
I would.
Then you're valid to be like,
Why?
Don't touch me.
I would be like, an eye for an eye. I would be like, turn around.
But no, yeah, but also there's something to say about like in the like obviously like, there's been situations where like after the fact I'm like I wish I would have said something.
You get shocked and everyone's looking at you.
You just default to like your comfortable like behavior.
And I wanted them to like me because we were gonna play together if it was at the end of the season, I probably could have just been like, see ya, sucker. But like no, like we were gonna be together for a while, so it was just like a whole thing. But yeah, now I still am not the type that I would turn up like, what's wrong with you? But I would call attention to it in like a jokestery type of way so that other people would know like, yeah, I saw that. But that's my last one.
Okay, I have one more.
Okay.
This one I think you'll find funny. I don't think I've told you this before, but my freshman year, and I went to like a smaller college too, so like Greek life is just not
freshman year of college.
Freshman year of college. I was joined a sorority, but it was not like what you think.
I didn't know that you were in a sorority.
It was very short lived.
Okay.
It was like a semester.
Yeah.
But yeah, I joined because it was more so at my college. It was like more like a club because I had this really sexist rule in my city that my college was in where, and I don't know if this is true. This is what they were told us. Like we couldn't have sorority houses because it was considered if you had like more than 10 girls living in a house, it was considered a brothel. And there was that rule just never got overchanged. And like one of my friends' mom is a lawyer that was like trying to get it overruled in like the county or whatever, but I don't know if that's, don't quote me on that, but that's what I was told. So basically
that's weird.
It changes a lot of like Greek life because obviously like the sorority didn't live in a house, so like we had a house but you couldn't live in it, so it was just like a club. When I was like first a part of the sorority, I was like a freshman and we did this like social event which basically we were selling mac and cheese, which I don't even know how we got this approved by like the health department.
Why that? Like Girl Scouts, like there's packages of it, or like
no, it went with the cute name.
Was it cooked?
Yes. It was like a social night. So like a lot of like Greek life will like do fundraising events.
Oh, like a spaghetti dinner. I've heard of that.
Yeah. Okay. It was like that. It was very much that. And it was like later at night on the weekends when people were out drinking and like people would come. So I advertised like this so much to my friends. I was like, and first of all, whoever's idea was this, unlimited mac and cheese you could buy for like a ticket for like $10.
Oh, wow.
Unlimited college athletes, like football players, could come and get unlimited mac and cheese. Whoever thought was that. So whatever, we buy the supplies, and I guess the sorority I was in was not very organized, but I didn't know that at the time. Okay. So yeah, I signed up to volunteer. Like we all had to volunteer like for an hour or so, like sign up for slots. And when I was like excited, I told all my friends about it. I was like, I played collegiate soccer, so I told all my teammates, like all the men's soccer team. I was like, come. And then it gets to it, and I'm not even getting like an hour. I was like the first shift, so that was like I was helping like make the mac and cheese too. We get there, and they only wanted us to get there like an hour, like 45 minutes ahead of time to start cooking, which I was like, that seems not very advanced to have to cook all this mac and cheese, but okay. So I get there, one burner in the house that we are cooking in works. Gosh. So they're just like,
did they know that?
No, well, an hour before then we knew that. So I was like, so like what's the game plan? And like the like upperclassmen were like, we're just gonna have to work with what we got. And that was stressing me out because I was like, I advertised this to all my friends, like this is gonna be a massive flop if like people come they bought tickets for unlimited mac and cheese and you're not even able to offer them like a bowl,
a serving.
So I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, what? Like at that point we were like 30-20 minutes away from like the start of it, and we hadn't even gotten a like,
were there
batch.
Sides or anything?
No, it was like a mac and cheese bar. So we had like the toppings and stuff that you could just like put on
mac and cheese,
like hot Cheetos and
other
cheese,
more cheese.
But yeah, so I'm starting to like get anxiety. So I knew a guy in Teak, which is like a fraternity that was like right next to where we were.
Popular girl terms here. Greek life.
So they had a fraternity house. So I was like, was like, do you guys want me to go ask if we can like use one of their burners? Because they had a kitchen, obviously. And they're like, oh, great idea. So my freshman little self is lugging this giant pot over to Teak, and I'm like cooking in their kitchen, and like they're drunk, like they're all intoxicated. And he's like, yeah, no problem. So like I'm just surrounded by these like fraternity.
You went alone?
Yes.
Did send anyone with you?
No, I'm in there. Just picture me.
Oh my god.
Little freshman Jenna just stirring this giant pot of mac and cheese. And then from the night on, I stayed there the entire event because I was lugging mac and cheese, like
oh my god,
pot of mac and cheese back and forth. And it was just on me now to be like the pretty much, because their pot was not that big. I had I borrowed one from Teak, which was like a large pot, which was helpful because it was more servings, but I ended up, just imagine me like running back and forth between the two and dumb. And so, I stayed that whole time, and like I didn't get a single like thanks.
You didn't even get to hang out with your friends?
No, and then my friends came and they're like, oh, this like turned out great, this is fun, like whatever. And I was like, it's so fun. Like,
oh my gosh,
a great time.
I'm actually just pissed at all these other people.
I know. It was just like, it just really surprised me how like the upperclassmen, there was just very little like thought behind that, because I kind of assume like you're in a sorority, you're like in this for a while, you kind of know how these events work, like you know what needs to go into them. But it was very much like, no, we were like I'm not gonna lie, like that event was gonna be so like people were gonna be unhappy, because we just did not have enough.
That is crazy.
But it ended up being fine. But I did have to make multiple like runs.
Psycho that they didn't send anyone like, hey, maybe help the freshmen or like help carry it or like anything.
Yeah, I don't think people really understood that like
organizing and.
Well, I just don't think they understood that like there wasn't enough mac and cheese.
Where they think that mac and cheese was coming from?
I don't know.
Because you would show up with it. And
and the thing is, I would show up with it, and then they would like pour some, because we needed to keep it warm a bit, and so like they would pour some of it in like this crock pot and some of it on the stove. So I think people were just thinking like, mac and cheese just appeared.
Yeah.
But it was me.
Was it homemade or a recipe or from boxes?
I think it was from boxes. Yeah.
So no one can help you with that? That's crazy. I feel like I have a vendetta against those people now. Just
like I said, the sorority was not what you would think a sorority is.
Okay.
It's very much
I have my rating.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, man, you've been going higher. Okay, the benefit of the doubt, like, what was I gonna do?
Say, hey, does anyone want to come with me? Does anyone want to? Because here's the thing, I feel like this is where it's differing. Like, the fact that you went alone to a frat house as a freshman, joined a sorority, I'm like, that is just like, whoa, someone is extroverted.
To be fair, I did know the guy in the fraternity pretty well at that point, so it was like, it wasn't like I was super, like, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But no one came with me.
I would have had so much anxiety doing that. I feel like it's like, if you could do that, you could have been like, hey, kid, does anyone want to come with me? Or hey, or if you said like, I need help or whatever.
That's true. I should have passed. Like once my shift was over, I should have been like, okay, someone else's turn.
Yeah,
someone else is gonna have to. Because a lot of the thing that I realized after the fact is like, no one offered to help me because no one wanted to be at not the event. Like people wanted to like run the table and like socialize, and like that's stupid the point.
Because it's like supposed to be a sisterhood, so you should help someone. Like if someone's over there, it would have at least made your night better if someone went with you and kept you company. I'm mostly just mad at those people. I was like, that's ridiculous.
No, to be honest, you can't really be mad because I'm sure I was like, no,
stop
it's
it,
no
doormat. Stop.
It's no problem at all.
That doesn't matter. You sent a freshman just purely out of like, what if you the responsible people would have been like, it's a freshman.
But it was like my idea, so.
Doesn't matter.
It's not like they were just like, all right.
I'm not saying I would have done any differently and been like, I said it was fine, but I am saying that was wrong on their part.
Okay.
Not good.
It's fair. I could take the blame for some of that though.
Well, we did it. Let us know if there's any you thought we ranked really poorly.
I know. I would love to see. We should have got like a normal person's opinion. Not okay.
Yeah, we
not
should
normal,
have had, like,
but like someone that's like your sister. I feel like she
Yeah.
would have like scored those very differently.
Maybe. Yeah, that would be interesting to see. But yeah, let us know.
But
or send us your doormat stories.
email us.
Email
at doormat.
DM.
Okay. We don't have an email yet, but
we don't have any social media yet. But
we should start an email that people can
email
their doormat stories, and then we rank them.
But for now, you can DM us online, and then we'll try and figure it out. But this is gonna bring us to the end of our episode.
I feel like that kind of covered it.
Hope you guys stick with us on this journey for more stories, more events, more experiences, and see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thanks.